Hey, what's happening everyone? SirJames coming at you guys with another video. In today's video, I'm here to give you guys a product review on the Alliance Alive, which is made for the Nintendo 3DS and published by Atlas. Now, to give you guys the foreground of the story here, trying to keep it as short and simple, but yet kind of keep it spoiler free, is that pretty much the way it goes is that 1,000 years ago demons had invaded the world of humans, and basically by doing so they had created this giant barrier keeping the realms separate, and in doing so it basically set the world apart and created a dark current, and which was used to basically devastate anything in its path, mainly humanity, which was decimated for the most part. However, hundreds of years after demons had pretty much ruled just about everything, the resistance has finally came forth and decided to go on and take on this threat, and of course to get the world back. And of course, along with the story, you actually do get a wide range of cast and characters, which of course that you meet in the game, and of course get to use in your party system. Now, going over the graphics, visually the game actually wasn't too bad looking on the Nintendo 3DS. However, one of my main concerns and kind of wish maybe in the future is that it would have been kind of nice to see maybe a port eventually make its way to the Nintendo Switch. But again, that's a topic for another story. But again, visually, as far as the environment, the elements, the special attacks, the characters, the landscape and towns, all of which look really good. One of the aspects that I liked as far as the visuals go is, in a way, this game actually kind of reminded me of Final Fantasy III, for example, the way everything lays out, how combat is encountered, minus, of course, the turn-based. And, of course, one of the effects that I like, too, as far as the camera's panning goes, is that if you happen to not move your character after a while, especially when you're in town, the camera will actually kind of pan outwards, thus giving you a bigger view of the town system until you move your character again, and that's when the camera basically zoom back into your character. So again, it's just kind of nice because you kind of get to see a lot more detail, some of the stuff that you normally don't get to see up close. You get a nice visual representation of that, of course, when the camera's panned back. And of course, on the bottom screen, it'll have like other important information like the world map and so forth. But again, visually, the game definitely wasn't too bad. Now up next, of course, is the gameplay. Now the game, of course, is a lengthy RPG, so you need to have something that's going to work for it, and that's, of course, a turn-based strategy game, which honestly, I love. I love turn-based strategy games, so anytime I see a game that utilizes this, I always look forward to see what they do with it, if it's going to be very simple, or are they going to add some interesting complications to it to make things a bit interesting, and I feel like this definitely went the second route. Of course, you'll be able to do your basic commands such as attack, defend, and of course, any type of characters that has special abilities or magical abilities, you'll be able to use as well. A lot of the characters tend to kind of work together, so there's always positives and negatives depending on how your characters are laid out. And what I mean by layout, you actually have kind of a grid system here where, of course, you can have characters up in the front row, characters in the middle, and of course characters in the rear as well, and you kind of have to basically pick and choose where you want certain characters to be at. The other thing that they're also using in this game is basically called the ignition system, which is part of this turn-based combat, which allows you to deeply customize the nuances as far as the gameplay goes, and of course further to enhance the state in which delivering much devastating final strikes. And the final strikes in this game, especially for a lot of the characters, are actually really cool looking. I always like it when an RPG game or pretty much utilizes special attacks and to kind of see how they're performed in the unique ways, whether or not you're just dealing heavy blows to a single enemy or basically everything that's in your pathway. And seeing as this game you could have a lot of party members in here, it definitely works out quite good. Now, of course, there is a little bit of a grinding system because the further you progress into the game, the harder and challenging things tend to be as far as the combat mechanics go. And I do apologize for not showing much here because I'm trying to keep it spoiler free for you guys. But again, the combat system definitely works out. Now, pretty much in the end, you do have a game that's definitely going to provide you with some decent replay value. It's one that's going to take you a while to beat. For me, it took me well over 30 hours to complete this title. It's something I could easily go back into replaying once again, even though I haven't fully accomplished everything because there's a lot of characters I'm still upgrading, a lot of things that I want to find and explore as well. Again, replay value is definitely pretty high, and if you like RPGs on the Nintendo 3DS, this is definitely one that's worthy of picking up, and I could easily give this a 9 out of 10. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Until then, I am SirJames from Gamerfuzion.com, where we empower your gaming.